Yep. Please fancy me up too, Lara. Yeah.
We prefer the nice people. We prefer the time people. This was the master of religion. We prefer the nice people. We prefer the time people. This was the master of religion. Revolution! Revolution! This one's a monster! This one's a monster! This one's a monster! Revolution! Revolution! This one's a monster! Revolution!
Hello, Jem. Hello, Jace.
Hello.
You guys are the band Dead.
We are.
How did you guys meet each other? Oh, maybe we want to wait for this helicopter to go away.
That's a plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or plane, whatever.
We met through
I came down to Melbourne for a tour in another
that I
band.
helped.
And Jem helped book all those, a bunch of shows in Melbourne. And I liked him because he smelled like garlic. And when I moved to Melbourne, we started playing in a band called Fangs Off.
Fangs Off.
Yeah.
Still plenty of records available,
Yeah.
too. of
Is that
band,
it?
if
Fangs
anyone-
Off?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
it changed what it was. Jesus, what was that?
Don't know.
And we played in that for a few years and then started Dead because touring was just so much easier. You know, the idea of
two
touring with 2 people, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would be easier with 3 if all 3 were just as committed.
Yeah.
But it's a lot to ask someone, hey, you're going to have a shitter job. You're going to have to not ever have any money. You're going to have to spend it all
On the
on
band.
doing this. And then you have to sleep on couches and get fleas and, you know what I mean? Like it's...
Yeah,
so
it's a hard line.
I wouldn't expect it of anyone. It just happened to be that the 2 of us were happy to agree to it.
Yeah.
So we booked a tour before we wrote a song. Writing songs is not a problem for Jace. We just didn't know what sort of songs they'd be because there was only 2 of us.
So how long ago was that? When did you do your
It
first
was like the
tour?
end of 2010.
And since then, you guys have toured overseas,
Yeah.
various places. Where have you been?
The first time we went to Southeast Asia, and then we went to the States later that year. And then the next year...
Japan.
New Zealand and Japan.
Yeah.
And then the next year we did the States.
Right.
Beyond
So how
the
do you
wings.
set up something like that? Like I know you're a DIY band and you do all the art, Jem screen prints the shirts, you release the records. So
Yeah.
how do you set up networks with people in different countries?
Kind of help each other because they have local knowledge, so they can say, "Oh no, let's not play there." And we kind of have that advantage every now and then of being an international band. That sometimes there are certain people out there in the DIY world that are more willing to help.
Yeah.
So together, it's like, all right, well, you guys lend a van, we'll, you know.
There's a lot of help going on. Though.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
There is a lot of.
Yeah, and it's mutual because they know
Yeah.
that you'll pay it back when they come here.
Yeah. Have you ever witnessed at a metal show someone go to do this with the metal symbol and accidentally get the wrong?
No, but I don't look at much. Like, I sometimes forget to even look at Jace, and I very rarely look at the crowd.
Because I was pondering that when I was making sandwiches this morning. If that's ever happened at a gig, someone's gone,
Someone
yeah.
slipped the wrong.
And they've just gone, oh.
I reckon it
What's
has.
that? That's hang 10. isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the wrong one.
Yeah.
This is Neil Hamburger. How can I be of assistance? What does Tony Abbott's rotten foreskin have in common with a McDonald's Big Mac wrapper? That's a question we received from Martin from Sydney, who seems to be a real wiseacre. Well, Martin, to answer your question, what does Tony Abbott's rotten foreskin have in common with a McDonald's Big Mac wrapper? Both of them they have little bits of onion stuck to them. Yeah. Ugh.
Who's this? It's Wee Man. Puss, 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 puss. Come here, Wee Man. Wee Man. Puss, puss. Come here. Puss, puss. Hello. Hello. What's your name? It's Wee Man. Hello, Wee Man. Hello. Aren't you pretty? Aren't you pretty?
Because I came into furniture not as a product designer, but as someone who, was looking at sculpture, I guess I wasn't really interested in doing the same thing that everyone else does. I was interested in new ideas, innovation, because that's the heart of progression, I guess, is innovation. Without that, I guess we just stagnate. When I designed my first product, which was called the Kid Straw Stool, in 2010, I came to that resolution because our brief was given to us that we had to use a composite material, and I lived in a really small house in Rathdown Street, and so most people go straight, when they think of composite materials, they go straight to resin, and so I couldn't think of anything worse but using a toxic material inside a really, really small space. So I started doing research into more organic composite materials, and that's how I came across the wheat starch plastic, and that's where my research started to lead me, and that's how I ended up with that product. From there, I just became incredibly excited about this idea of DIY. I just thought, why couldn't we be producing things in our home? We have so many intelligent materials now, why couldn't we? Through actually creating work, we get emotional attachments to those things, which means that we end up keeping them for longer usually. If they're a one-off, people aren't going to throw them away, they're not going to end up in hard rubbish, and that's where I was so excited about these organic materials, the idea that, you know, plastics last for something like 1,000 years, whereas the materials I look into and I do research into can last as long as they need to, and if they go to the tip, you know, they can break down in a short period of time instead of just creating more waste. Well, this is the prototype for a product I worked on a few years ago. It's made from a material called polycaprolactone. The best way to explain this material is that it melts at 60 degrees, so you can put it in boiling hot water. It's pretty much infinitely recyclable, meaning you can continue to melt things down to create really strong objects. It's completely food safe and non-toxic, and it's completely biodegradable. So I guess we're looking at life cycle not as something that breaks down, but something that can be reused again. I think my real interest is going backwards against technology almost. I love what people are doing with technology, but I also like what people are doing making things by hand, because there's a real love for that sort of thing. There was a company that designed 3D printed shoes, and you could buy the 3D printed shoes. I saw no real worth in that at all, because their tagline was almost, you can print a new pair of shoes every day, which is incredibly wasteful, which I guess is just using technology to facilitate making money as opposed to doing something new, which is, I guess, where I'd like to be the most and would like to spend most of my time is trying new things.
We got another question here. This one comes from Glenn from Dapto. Glenn says, "Dear Neil, I really love olives and always buy the pitted jars, but without fail, I always find at least one olive with a pit in it. Am I doing something wrong, or does God hate me?" So it's a philosophical question, and it's an interesting question. This is something that's talked about in churches and in monasteries and synagogues all the time. Glenn, you're not doing anything wrong in terms of God hating you. What you're doing wrong is you're purchasing the home brand of pitted olives, which are real cheap junk, not made locally and not made with good quality olives at all. These are olives that were rejected even by the lowest of the low, Domino's Pizza and Pizza Hut. These are olives that are barely one step up from marinated dirt clods or marinated stones or marinated balls of oil that has accumulated on the ground at a garage. And so I would say that you should probably spend the extra 4 cents and buy the name brand, Glenn. Thank you.
I'm Haikal Raji from A1 Bakery. My dad and my uncle found this business in about 1992. And we've been going ever since. Got the za'atar, of course, most important spice of all.
And is this the first thing you eat when you're born in Lebanese culture?
Yeah, before breast milk.
Before breast milk?
I'd say it is.
Just around the mouth and the gums about it. So, here we are at the epicenter of A1 Bakery. Does this oven have a name?
At the moment it doesn't.
What's his name?
His name? Well, his name's Mo.
We'll call it Mo's Oven.
Mo's Oven.
Done.
Reem, you just got in the back of us. You got Reem in the back of the yelling.
I'm not yelling. I'm just saying you can go through here. Hi. Do I look nice?
Yeah. Now, Manoli, are you ready to come in and have a crack at this?
Yes, I am.
What do you feel like making?
the most complicated thing.
You're a natural.
Thanks, man.
Spread it like,
And this took me about how long?
I'd say about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and how long does it take what are the pros?
30 seconds.
Okay.
On a Saturday, we'd use over 200 kilos of flour.
That is enough to kill about 1,000 celiacs, maybe more. Thank you very much, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for coming.
We'll definitely see you again. And so will most of Brunswick too.
You know how you buy these expensive creams and there's avocado in it? You can actually just put that, which is the best thing about that cream, straight on your face. So what I do sometimes is I'll have a little bit of avocado left and I just give myself a little face mask in the kitchen. It looks really gross, sorry, but it's really good for your face. It's really moisturising. Other things you can put on your face, olive oil. Just, oh, my hands are too slippery to open it. Awkward. Crew or honey. Honey. Just put a little bit of honey. Honey is the most amazing thing for your face. It's like, if you cover your face in honey and leave it there for half an hour, wash it off, you'll literally feel like a new person. Olive oil. Thanks. Really good for... All this stuff's great for people that are easily irritated because a lot of that stuff in creams are just a bit mental. So you can just put some olive oil on your face as well. Oh my God, I know this looks really gross, but it friggin' feels so good. Bicarb soda, best exfoliator ever. And it's like $2 for that big box of it. You just put a little bit on your hand with some water, rub it on, scrub away. Stuff's coming off you didn't even know was there. It's amazing. So yeah, don't let things go to waste, put it on your face. It's really good.
Dear Heel Hamburger, would you consider being the ambassador for World Reverse Your Initials Day? This is our question from Andy from Sydney. Once again, all the sickies that seem to live in central Sydney. Would I consider being the ambassador for World Reverse Your Initials Day? No, I wouldn't, you sock cucker, father, mucker, cease of pit.
I shared a house with Blackie and his sister Jennifer in the mid-90s. And one day, somebody broke into our house and took a big jar of 20-cent coins, a rubber chicken, and a first-generation Sony PlayStation. But they left behind a Marshall JCM 800 head, 2 Marshall guitar quads, a Gallagher RB 800 bass head, and 2 speaker boxes made by Guild Harkey, worth a fair bit of money, and also 2 SG Gibson guitars made in USA, and an American-made 1977 Fender Precision bass.
Was also responsible
for numerous other, but less important, but still strange knowledge.
You'll probably get lost, but you'll pull out of it, okay? You'll be glad you tried it. It's an experience you'll never forget.
And then suddenly,
It was was only a dream, wasn't it?
Now we've got a question from Jenny. Sweet Jenny from Castle, Maine. Jenny writes in to say, Neil, what happens after we die? You know, Jenny, that's changed over the years. It used to be a very peaceful process after death. But in recent years, unfortunately, the line between life for the living and life for the dead has become very blurry. And I'm here to report that after you die, the exact same thing happens that happens while you're alive, and that is every time you walk into a supermarket or a gas station or a record shop or even an elevator, you gotta hear a track by the Foo Fighters, history's most rancid musicians.
Hello, we're at the old bar and I'm talking to Batpiss. This is Tommy, this is Marty, this is Paul.
G'day. G'day.
You guys are a pretty popular Melbourne band. Do you find it hard being a pretty well-known, successful band in your scene, but then are your families kind of like, what is this racket?
No, my family's pretty, like they're into it. If they're ever down here and stuff, they'll
Tommy's
come to
parents
shows.
at our shows.
Yeah.
Our shows, yeah.
They love it.
Yeah, it's just always something that's... another thing I want to ask about is it called Baptist?
It's called Baptist.
Baptist,
I think
What
it's
is this?
like Nick from Graveyard Train just got a whole bunch of people to do covers of like a couple of our songs.
It's very gospel.
Yeah, gospel as hell.
Yeah.
And
Describe it as sister act kind of style, isn't it?
sister act.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't really know much about it. They just asked us like, do you mind if we do some of your songs in gospel music? I'm like, yeah, go for it.
That's great.
That'll be something we can show our parents anyway. Say this is our band.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what else have you done? You guys did a tour of Indonesia.
Yeah, Indo was awesome. Like,
It's pretty ridiculous photos I've seen from that tour.
Well, the first show was at a skate park, and there was like 600 or 700 kids. Like, we were just like, what the fuck's going on? Like, the scene over there is just sort of like punk and hardcore's, just begun. Like,
So there's a lot of excitement around it.
yeah, it's mind blowing if a small band wants to, go over and see what it's like to feel like a rock star, so even just go to Indonesia, because they think
You're super exotic over there as well.
Yeah,
Like people waiting outside our hostel rooms and stuff like that.
Wow.
All night. Some
Really?
places, yeah.
all night. Like one town we went to was in Sumatra. We were like the second international band to ever go there. Like the whole sort of town comes out.
Wow.
It was pretty gnarly. And we had like this, we got to the show and there was just this huge backdrop that they've made, like
Batpiss
Batpiss
banner.
banner. Look at that.
Yeah.
They let us take it home as well.
That's
Sit
killer.
on my bed.